A plastic bottle is not just waste. When you know how to use it, it becomes a small garden, a learning tool, and a fresh beginning. This is the first mindset every beginner needs before starting plastic bottle gardening. You do not need a big backyard. You do not need expensive pots. You do not need professional tools. You do not need years of gardening experience. What you need is one clean bottle, some soil, a simple plant, and the willingness to start. Plastic bottle gardening is powerful because it removes the biggest excuse that stops most people from growing plants. That excuse is, I do not have enough space. But the truth is, a window corner, a balcony rail, a wall space, or even a small sunny spot can become a place where life begins. When you reuse a bottle, you are not only saving money, you are also giving waste a second purpose and creating something useful from something ordinary. For beginners, this method is one of the easiest ways to understand how plants grow, because everything happens in a small and visible space. You can see how soil holds water. You can notice how leaves move toward light. You can understand why roots need air. You can learn why too much water can damage a plant, even when your intention is good. This is why plastic bottle gardening is more than a simple planting trick. It is a practical training system for new gardeners. A bottle can teach you drainage, sunlight, watering, soil balance, and plant care in a very simple way. If one plant does not grow well, you can adjust the next bottle and improve without wasting much money. This makes the process less stressful and more exciting. Every bottle becomes a small experiment, and every new leaf becomes proof that your effort is working. The basic idea is simple, but the results can be powerful. Choose a strong bottle. Wash it properly. Make drainage holes. Fill it with loose, fertile soil. Then start with easy plants like mint, coriander, spinach, lettuce, basil, green onion, or marigold. Keep the bottle in bright light. Water only when the soil needs it. Give the plant enough airflow to stay healthy. Do not overcrowd the bottle, because fewer strong plants are better than many weak ones. Do not rush the process, because real gardening skill grows through observation and patience. Plastic bottle gardening teaches a beautiful lesson. Growth does not always need perfect conditions. Sometimes it begins with what you already have in your hands. If you can turn one empty bottle into a living plant, then you can turn a small space into a garden and a small habit into a better lifestyle. Choosing the right plastic bottle is the first smart decision that can make your bottle garden stronger from the beginning. Many beginners think every bottle works the same way, but plants do not grow only because there is soil inside a container. They grow well when the container gives enough space, support, drainage, and protection. A small bottle can help you start seeds, grow tiny herbs, or test cuttings, but it cannot support every plant for a long time. A medium bottle is better for mint, coriander, lettuce, spinach, basil, and small flowers because it gives roots more room and holds moisture more evenly. A larger bottle is useful for plants that need stronger root support, such as chilies, young tomatoes, or bigger ornamental plants. The simple rule is this: the bigger the plant will become, the more soil space it needs. If the bottle is too small, the plant may sprout, but later the roots become crowded and growth becomes weak. The strength and condition of the bottle also matter more than many beginners realize. Wet soil becomes heavy after watering, and a weak bottle can bend, crack, or lose shape. Choose a bottle that feels firm, clean, and safe to handle. Avoid bottles that are crushed, damaged, too thin, or difficult to keep stable. Wash the bottle properly before planting, because leftover sugar smell, juice residue, or dirt can attract insects and fungus. Transparent bottles are useful because they help beginners observe moisture and sometimes root movement, but they can also allow sunlight to heat the soil and encourage algae growth. If you use a transparent bottle in strong sunlight, cover the outside with paper, cloth, jute, paint, or any simple material to protect the roots. Colored bottles can reduce light exposure, but they make it harder to see what is happening inside. Both types can work if you prepare them wisely. The goal is not to find a perfect bottle. The goal is to choose a bottle that matches the plant and supports healthy growth. The bottle shape should also match your garden design. If you want a simple pot-style planter, cut the upper narrow part and use the lower section. If you want a horizontal planter, lay the bottle on its side and cut a wide opening on top. If you want a hanging garden, choose bottles with strong sides so the rope holes do not tear when the soil becomes wet. If you want a vertical garden, use bottles that can be fixed safely on a wall, railing, or frame. Always think about drainage before planting, because the lowest part of the bottle must have holes where extra water can escape. If the bottle stands upright, the holes go under the base. If it lies sideways, the holes go along the lower side. If it hangs, the hole should allow water to drip safely without creating damage. Choosing the right bottle is not only about size. It is about understanding the needs of the plant before the plant starts growing. When the bottle is strong, clean, stable, and correctly prepared, your plant gets a better beginning, and your gardening journey becomes easier, more successful, and more enjoyable. Preparing the bottle correctly is the step that decides whether your plant will struggle or grow with strength. A plastic bottle is not naturally made for gardening, so before it becomes a planter, you must turn it into a safe growing space. Start with a clean, strong bottle and wash it properly so there is no leftover drink smell, sugar residue, or dirt inside. This protects the plant from insects, fungus, and unhealthy conditions. After washing, decide the style of your planter. For a simple pot-style design, cut the top narrow part and use the lower section. For a horizontal planter, place the bottle on its side and cut a wide opening on the upper side. For a hanging planter, make small rope holes near the upper sides and make sure the plastic is strong enough to hold wet soil weight. Smooth the sharp edges or cover them with tape if needed, because safe preparation makes the garden easier to handle and better for young plants. Drainage is the most important part of bottle preparation, because roots need water, but they also need air. Without drainage, extra water stays trapped inside the bottle, and the roots can begin to rot. Many beginners see yellow leaves or weak stems and think the plant needs more water, but sometimes the real problem is already too much water sitting around the roots. To prevent this, make several small holes at the lowest part of the bottle. If the bottle is standing upright, make holes under the base. If the bottle is horizontal, make holes along the lower side. If the bottle is hanging, place the holes where extra water can drip safely. You can use a heated nail, a screwdriver, or any safe sharp tool. The holes should release water slowly, but should not be so large that soil falls out quickly. Add a thin layer of dry leaves, small stones, coconut fiber, or broken clay pieces at the bottom to keep the holes from blocking. But do not fill too much space, because plants need soil more than decoration. The soil inside the bottle should be loose, fertile, and well-draining, because compact soil becomes hard after watering, and roots cannot breathe properly. Garden soil alone can become heavy inside a plastic bottle, especially if it contains too much clay. A better beginner-friendly mix is garden soil, compost, and a small amount of sand or cocoa peat. Compost gives nutrients. Sand improves drainage. Cocoa peat helps hold moisture without making the soil too heavy. If you do not have every material, then start with what you have, but make sure the soil is soft and crumbly. Remove stones, break hard lumps, and avoid soil that smells bad or looks contaminated. Fill the bottle gently, and do not press the soil too tightly, because roots need small air spaces to spread. Leave some space at the top so water does not overflow during watering. When the bottle is clean, the drainage works, and the soil is balanced, your plant receives a strong foundation, and that foundation makes every next step in plastic bottle gardening easier, healthier, and more rewarding. The best plants for plastic bottle gardening are the ones that grow well in small spaces, give quick results, and forgive beginner mistakes. This is important because early success builds confidence, and confidence keeps you consistent. A plastic bottle has limited soil depth, so shallow-rooted plants are usually better than large crops that need deep roots and heavy feeding. Herbs, leafy greens, small flowers, and kitchen regrow plants are the safest choices. Mint is one of the easiest plants because it grows from cuttings and spreads quickly when it gets moisture and bright light. Coriander is useful because it grows from seeds and can be used fresh in daily cooking. Spinach and lettuce are great for beginners because they produce leaves quickly and do not need very deep soil. Green onion is also a smart choice because it can regrow from the white root part left after cooking. These plants help you learn watering, sunlight, and harvesting without making the process difficult. Herbs are especially powerful for bottle gardening because they are useful, beautiful, and easy to manage in small containers. Mint, basil, coriander, parsley, and green onion can grow in bottles and give repeated harvests when cared for properly. Mint can grow in partial sunlight and likes steady moisture, but it should not sit in water. Basil needs brighter sunlight and grows better when you pinch the top growth to encourage branching. Coriander prefers cooler, gentle conditions and may struggle in extreme heat, so choose the right season or give it mild sunlight. Lettuce and spinach can be harvested leaf by leaf, which means one bottle can keep producing for some time instead of giving only one harvest. For flowers, marigold is a strong, beginner-friendly choice because it adds color and can grow well in containers. Small, ornamental plants can also work if the bottle has good drainage and enough light. The key is to match the plant with the bottle size, because a small bottle is good for starting seeds, while a larger bottle gives better support for herbs, leafy greens, and flowering plants. Beginners should avoid starting with plants that need large root systems, strong support, or heavy feeding. Full-size tomatoes, cucumbers, pumpkins, okra, eggplants, and large root vegetables are not ideal for small bottles because they need more space than a simple bottle can provide. Carrots, radishes, and similar root crops need deeper, loose soil, so they may not grow properly in short containers. If you want to experiment with them later, use taller bottles and small varieties, but do not make them your first project. The smartest beginner plan is to grow one herb, one leafy green, and one flower. For example, mint in one bottle, spinach in another, and marigold in a third. This gives you 3 different learning experiences and keeps the process exciting. Choose plants according to your sunlight, weather, and time for care, because the right plant in the right place grows better than a difficult plant in poor conditions. Plastic bottle gardening becomes successful when you begin with simple, strong, and useful plants, then slowly move toward advanced experiments as your confidence grows. To start your first plastic bottle garden, keep the process simple, because simple steps create better results for beginners. Choose one clean, strong plastic bottle, preferably 1 liter, 2 liter, or larger, depending on the plant you want to grow. Wash it properly so there is no smell, sticky liquid, or dirt inside. Then decide the design. For a basic pot-style planter, cut the top narrow part and use the lower section. For a horizontal planter, place the bottle on its side and cut a wide opening on the upper side. Make the cut carefully and keep the edges safe, because rough plastic can hurt your hands or damage soft stems. After cutting, make several small drainage holes at the lowest part of the bottle so extra water can escape. This is one of the most important steps, because without drainage, the soil can stay wet for too long and roots can rot. Add a thin layer of dry leaves, small stones, coconut fiber, or broken clay pieces at the bottom. Then fill the bottle with loose, fertile soil without pressing it too tightly. After the bottle is ready, choose an easy plant for your first attempt. Mint, coriander, spinach, lettuce, basil, green onion, and marigold are excellent beginner choices because they grow well in small containers and show progress quickly. If you are planting seeds, make shallow holes or light lines in the soil and cover the seeds gently with a thin layer of soil. Tiny seeds should not be buried too deep because they may not have enough strength to reach the surface. If you are planting mint cuttings, remove the lower leaves and place the stem into moist soil so the nodes stay under the soil, because roots can grow from those points. If you are planting green onion, place the white root part in the soil and keep the green top above the surface. If you are planting a seedling, make a small hole, place the roots gently, and cover them without burying the stem too deeply. After planting, water lightly until the soil becomes evenly moist and a little water drains from the holes. This tells you that your drainage is working. Now place the bottle in a bright location where the plant can receive gentle sunlight and fresh airflow. Morning sunlight is usually safer for beginners because it gives energy without overheating the bottle too quickly. Check the soil before watering, and water only when the top layer feels dry. If the soil is still moist, wait, because overwatering is one of the most common mistakes in bottle gardening. If too many seedlings grow together, remove the weaker ones so the stronger plants get enough space, light, and nutrients. Watch the leaves carefully because they tell you what the plant needs. Yellow leaves may mean too much water, weak drainage, or low nutrients. Tall, thin stems may mean the plant needs more light. Dry, crispy leaves may mean too much heat or irregular watering. Add a small amount of compost after some weeks if the plant needs feeding, but do not overfeed because bottle soil is limited. Your first plastic bottle garden does not need to be perfect. It only needs care, patience, and observation. Every new leaf will teach you something, and every small success will make you more confident to grow again. Watering is one of the most important skills in plastic bottle gardening because a bottle holds only a small amount of soil and water can collect quickly if you are not careful. Many beginners water too often because they think more water means faster growth, but roots need both moisture and air. If the soil stays wet all the time, the roots can become weak and may begin to rot. The best method is to check the soil before watering. Touch the top layer with your finger, and if it feels dry about 1 finger deep, then water gently. If it still feels moist, then wait. Seeds need steady moisture during germination, but they should never sit in flooded soil. For established plants, water slowly until a little extra water comes out from the drainage holes. This shows that the soil has received moisture and the extra water is escaping. Morning is usually the best time to water because plants can use the moisture during the day and the soil surface can dry before night. Sunlight gives plants the energy they need to grow strong leaves, healthy stems, and active roots, but every plant does not need the same amount of light. Leafy greens like lettuce, spinach, and coriander can grow well in bright light with gentle sun, especially in warm weather. Mint can manage partial sunlight and bright indirect light, while basil, chilies, and many flowers need stronger sunlight to grow properly. For beginners, morning sunlight is often the safest because it is bright but not too harsh. Afternoon sunlight can heat plastic bottles quickly, and this heat can stress the roots. If your bottle is transparent, the sun can also warm the soil and may encourage algae growth inside the container. To protect the roots, cover the outside of the bottle with paper, cloth, jute, paint, or any simple material while keeping the plant opening clear. If the plant becomes tall, thin, and weak, it may be searching for more light. If leaves become dry, curled, or burnt, the sun may be too strong, or the bottle may be overheating. Airflow is the third key factor that many beginners ignore, but it has a major effect on plant strength and disease prevention. Plants need fresh air around their leaves and soil surface because still damp air can encourage fungus, pests, and weak stems. A bottle garden placed in a closed, dark corner may stay wet for too long, and the plant may become soft, pale, or unhealthy. Good airflow helps the soil's surface dry at a natural speed and keeps leaves stronger. If you are growing bottles on a balcony, window grill, wall rack, or hanging setup, leave space between each bottle so leaves do not crowd each other. Crowded plants compete for light and block air movement, which can lead to yellow leaves, slow growth, and fungal problems. At the same time, protect young plants from very strong wind, because fast wind can dry the soil quickly and damage soft seedlings. Water, sunlight, and airflow work together. When these three basics are balanced, your plastic bottle garden becomes healthier, stronger, and easier to maintain. And once you learn to read these signals, you stop guessing and start growing with confidence. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make in plastic bottle gardening is starting without proper drainage. A plastic bottle does not release extra water on its own like open ground, so if you do not make holes at the bottom, water can stay trapped around the roots. Many new gardeners water again and again because they think more water means better growth. But roots need air as much as they need moisture. When water stays inside the bottle for too long, the roots can suffocate and rot. The plant may turn yellow, weak, or droopy, and the beginner may think it needs even more water, which makes the problem worse. This mistake is easy to avoid. Make several small drainage holes at the lowest part of the bottle before adding soil. Use loose soil that does not become hard after watering, and avoid pressing it too tightly. Healthy roots need soft soil, water balance, and air spaces to grow strongly. Another common mistake is choosing the wrong plant for the bottle size. Every plant needs enough root space and support to grow well. Small bottles are useful for seed starting, herbs, and tiny plants, but they are not suitable for large crops that need deep roots and heavy feeding. Beginners sometimes try to grow full-size tomatoes, cucumbers, pumpkins, or large root vegetables in small bottles and then feel disappointed when the plants stay weak. The problem is not always the gardener. The problem is that the plant and container do not match. It is better to begin with mint, coriander, spinach, lettuce, basil, green onion, or marigold because these plants are more suitable for small containers and give faster results. Overcrowding is another mistake. When too many seeds grow in one bottle, the seedlings compete for light, water, nutrients, and space. At first, the bottle may look full and successful, but later the plants become thin, weak, and stretched. Fewer healthy plants are always better than many struggling plants. The third mistake is not observing the plant after planting. Plastic bottle gardening is not a one-time setup. It is a small living system that changes every day. Some beginners plant seeds and forget them, while others care too aggressively and disturb the plant too much. The right method is balanced attention. Check the soil before watering. Watch the leaves for signs of stress. Move the bottle if the light is too weak or too harsh. Keep airflow around the plants so fungus and pests do not develop easily. Avoid adding too much fertilizer because bottle soil is limited and strong feeding can burn roots. If a plant fails, do not give up because every failed bottle teaches something useful. Maybe the drainage was weak. Maybe the soil was too heavy. Maybe the plant needed more light. Maybe the bottle was too small. The best gardeners are not the ones who never make mistakes. They are the ones who observe, adjust, and try again. Plastic bottle gardening becomes successful when you treat every mistake as a lesson and every new attempt as a better beginning. Small spaces can become fresh, productive, and beautiful when plastic bottles are used with smart planning. You do not need a large garden to grow something useful because a balcony, window grill, wall corner, rooftop railing, or small shelf can become a growing area if bottles are arranged properly. One of the best ideas is a vertical bottle garden, where bottles are fixed one above another on a wall frame, wooden board, metal grill, or strong rope. This saves floor space and allows you to grow more plants in a narrow area. Herbs like mint, coriander, basil, parsley, and green onion work well in vertical setups because they stay compact and can be harvested again and again. Another smart idea is a hanging bottle garden, where bottles are placed horizontally with a wide opening on top and tied with strong rope or wire. This works well for balconies and windows because the plants receive light while the floor stays free. Always remember that wet soil becomes heavy, so every bottle must be tied firmly and placed safely. A kitchen bottle garden is another practical idea for people who want fresh herbs close to daily cooking. You can place bottles near a sunny kitchen window or balcony and grow mint, coriander, green onion, lettuce, spinach, or basil. These plants are useful in meals and do not need a large growing space. Plastic bottles can also be used as seed starters by cutting the lower part into small containers and growing seedlings before shifting them to bigger pots or larger bottles. This saves money and helps beginners learn germination in a simple way. A self-watering bottle planter is also useful for busy people. In this design, the bottle is cut into two parts. The top part is inverted into the bottom part, and a cotton wick or cloth strip connects the soil to the water below. The plant slowly takes moisture through the wick. This idea can work well, but beginners should first understand normal drainage and watering before trying it, because too much standing water can still create problems if the setup is not balanced. The smartest bottle garden is the one designed around light, water, airflow, and easy access. Not only decoration, a beautiful setup will fail if plants do not receive enough sunlight or if watering becomes difficult. Place sun-loving plants like basil, chilies, and marigold where they get stronger light, and keep mint, coriander, lettuce, or spinach in gentler light if your weather is hot. Arrange bottles so taller plants do not block smaller ones, and leave space between bottles for airflow because crowded setups can cause fungus and weak growth. If your balcony gets harsh afternoon sun, cover the bottle sides with cloth, paper, jute, or paint to protect roots from overheating. If your bottles are indoors, keep trays under them to collect extra water and prevent mess. You can label each bottle with the plant name and planting date so you can track growth and learn from every attempt. Plastic bottle gardening proves that even a small space can become meaningful when every bottle has a purpose. Every plant has the right position, and every corner is used with care. Maintaining a plastic bottle garden is all about regular observation because plants in bottles depend on limited soil, water, nutrients, and space. Check your plants every day or every 2 days and look at the soil, leaves, stems, and drainage holes before taking action. Touch the soil before watering and water only when the top layer feels dry because overwatering is one of the most common reasons bottle plants become weak. If water does not drain properly from the bottom holes, the roots may stay wet for too long, so clear blocked holes or improve the drainage layer if needed. Remove yellow, dry, or damaged leaves because they can attract pests and waste the plant energy. Keep the bottles in a place where they receive the right amount of sunlight according to the plant type, and make sure fresh air can move around the leaves. If the plant becomes tall, thin, and pale, it may need more light. If the leaves become dry, curled, or burnt, the heat may be too strong or the bottle may be overheating. Add a small amount of compost after a few weeks to refresh nutrients, but avoid strong fertilizer because bottle soil is limited. Harvesting from a bottle garden should be gentle and smart because the goal is to keep the plant growing after each harvest. For leafy greens like spinach, lettuce, and coriander, take the outer leaves first instead of pulling out the whole plant. This allows the center to keep producing new growth. For herbs like mint and basil, pinch or cut the top growth above a leaf node so the plant becomes bushier and produces more side branches. Do not remove all leaves at once because the plant needs leaves to make energy from sunlight. Green onions can be cut from the top while leaving the white root section in the soil so they regrow again. Marigold flowers can be removed when they dry so the plant continues making new flowers. This is called deadheading, and it keeps the plant active. Harvest in the morning if possible because leaves are usually fresher at that time. Use clean scissors or clean hands so you do not damage stems or spread disease. A good harvest is not only about taking from the plant, it is about taking in a way that encourages more growth. Reusing your bottle garden is one of the best parts of this method because it saves money, reduces waste, and helps you improve with every cycle. After one plant finishes its life, remove old roots and leftover stems. Then empty the bottle and check the soil. If the soil still looks healthy, refresh it by mixing in compost and loosening it before planting again. If the soil smells bad, looks sticky, or had disease problems, replace it or dry it in sunlight before reuse. Wash the bottle before starting a new plant, especially if the previous plant had pests, fungus, or root rot. Check the drainage holes again because they may become blocked with old soil. You can redesign old bottles into seed starters, hanging planters, vertical garden pockets, or small compost collection containers. If a bottle becomes cracked, weak, or unsafe, do not use it for heavy planting. Every reused bottle gives you another chance to grow better than before. Plastic bottle gardening becomes powerful when maintenance gives health, harvesting gives reward, and reuse turns one simple bottle into many new beginnings. A plastic bottle is usually seen as waste, but in the hands of a thoughtful gardener, it becomes a beginning. This is the real motivation behind plastic bottle gardening. It teaches us that growth does not always need perfect conditions, expensive materials, or a large piece of land. Sometimes growth begins with one empty bottle, a little soil, a few seeds, and the decision to try. Many people delay gardening because they think they need more space, more money, more tools, or more knowledge, but plastic bottle gardening removes those excuses. It proves that small actions can create visible change. When you reuse a bottle instead of throwing it away, you are not only making a planter, you are changing the purpose of something that was considered useless. You are turning waste into a home for roots, leaves, flowers, and food. This simple act carries a powerful message. If a discarded bottle can support life, then a small corner of your home can become a garden, and a small effort from you can become a habit of growth. The beauty of plastic bottle gardening is that it gives beginners hope through quick and simple progress. The first seed that sprouts, the first mint cutting that forms roots, the first green onion that grows again, and the first leaf you harvest all remind you that nature responds to care. You do not need to be perfect to begin. You only need to be consistent. Every bottle teaches a lesson. One bottle teaches drainage, another teaches sunlight, another teaches patience, another teaches that too much water can harm even when your intention is good. This is why gardening becomes more than a hobby. It becomes a quiet form of discipline. You learn to observe before reacting. You learn to give the right amount instead of too much. You learn that growth takes time and that small improvements matter. Plastic bottle gardening also connects creativity with responsibility because you are using waste wisely while creating something fresh, useful, and beautiful. In a world where people often throw things away quickly, this method encourages a different mindset. It says, reuse what you can, start where you are, and build something meaningful with what you already have. Turning waste into growth is not only about plants, it is about the way you look at possibilities. A balcony can become a green wall. A window can become a herb corner. A kitchen scrap can become a new plant. A used bottle can become a small source of life. This mindset is powerful because it reminds us that change does not always start big. It often starts quietly with one simple step. If your first plant fails, do not stop, because failure is part of learning. Maybe the bottle needed better drainage. Maybe the plant needed more sunlight. Maybe the soil was too heavy. Maybe the watering was too much. Every mistake gives direction for the next attempt. The real success is not only in harvesting leaves or flowers. The real success is in becoming someone who creates instead of wastes, who observes instead of gives up, and who finds opportunity in ordinary things. Plastic bottle gardening is a reminder that growth is always possible when care meets action. So start with one bottle, one plant, and one honest effort. Let that small green leaf remind you that even waste can become useful, and even a small beginning can inspire a better way of living.